show you why America is talking about treason tonight. This is the Ed Show. Let's get to work.
We have a president right now that is operating outside the structure of our Constitution. Yeah, I do agree he should be tried for treason.
Mitt Romney didn't have the guts to answer that question until he was forced to take a side.
I don't correct all the questions that get asked of me. I obviously don't agree with it. He should be tried.
Congresswoman Maxine Waters on the failed leadership of Mitt Romney.
We are still fired up. We are still ready to go.
Romney has Citizens United. The president has a big endorsement from labor. Tonight, my exclusive interview with Teamsters President James Hoffa. The Democrats are ready to pick a winner in Wisconsin. New details on the big money and the big stakes in the Walker recall. The nation's John Nichols is here with a primary night preview. Good to have you with us tonight, folks. Thanks for watching. Mitt Romney continues to prove himself totally incapable of leading the Republican Party and this country. Today, he held another famous town hall event near Cleveland, Ohio, where the extreme right-wingers, they were out and about in full force. Ohio State Auditor Dave Yost got the ball rolling before Romney came out on stage.
All this stuff in the last couple weeks about the president claiming credit for killing Osama bin Laden. It strikes me a little weird. I mean, that's like giving Ronald McDonald credit for the Big Mac you had for lunch. I mean, everybody knows it's really the guy at the grill that deserves credit, right? Not the pitchman on TV.
Comparing the bin Laden raid to fast food was really just the beginning. Next, the state auditor Yost attacked President Obama for going on vacation, and the president's family was apparently not off limits.
March 2010, the First Lady and her daughter spent spring break in New York City. This list, by the way, doesn't include the date night. Anybody fly to New York just to have a date night with your spouse? No, I didn't think so. Mr. President, that's not middle class, and you stop lecturing us about our lives.
This is the guy who was the opening act for Mitt Romney, and he's yelling at President Obama for being out of touch. But the Ohio auditor was not the most extreme person at the event. During the question and answer portion, a Romney supporter made an outrageous accusation aimed at President Obama. Pay close attention to Mitt Romney's response.
We have a president right now that is operating outside the structure of our Constitution. Yeah, I do agree he should be tried for treason. But I want to know what you are going to be able to do to help restore balance between the three branches of government and what you're going to be able to do to restore our Constitution in this country.
Well, as I'm sure you do, I happen to believe that the Constitution was not just brilliant, but probably inspired. And so I will respect the different branches of government if I'm fortunate enough to become president.
Mitt Romney's supporter accused President Obama of treason, and Romney, he just lets it go. He just ignores it and moves right on and says, well, I'll work within the Constitution. If anything, his response lends credibility to her claim. Just to compare, here's how Republican nominee for president responded when he ran into a crazy supporter weeks before the election.
I can't trust Obama. I have read about him, and he's an Arab. He is not.
No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about. He's not. Thank you.
For all his faults, at least John McCain had the guts to talk down the crazy. 4 years later, the presumptive nominee of the Republican Party doesn't have the character or leadership skills to correct conspiracy theories on the road at an event. Romney didn't address the treason accusation until after the event, when a reporter grilled him about it.
Governor Romney, do you think President Obama should be tried for treason like the person who asked you? No? Why didn't you say anything? Is there a reason you didn't say anything like Senator McCain did 4 years ago, Governor?
Keep your hands up, don't too much shake.
Is there a reason you didn't correct her? Or is there a reason you didn't correct her or say that you wouldn't?
I answer the question.
Okay, but you don't agree with her answer?
I don't correct all the questions that get asked of me. I obviously don't agree with it. He should be tried.
Romney can't recognize the crazy and set the record straight. I think it speaks volumes. He has to go back and make a political calculation about how to handle this situation. But I think you have to judge Romney on his first instinct, which was to allow the seed to be planted that President Obama has committed treason. The Obama campaign responded immediately with this statement. Time after time in this campaign, Mitt Romney has had the opportunity to show that he has the fortitude to stand up to hateful and over-the-line rhetoric. And time after time, he has failed to do so. If this is the leadership he has shown on the campaign trail, what can the American people expect of him as commander-in-chief? You know, now this is the key point. Today's event displayed Mitt Romney's weak leadership skills, and it's becoming really a pattern. Last week, Romney buckled to the Christian right, getting rid of a top foreign policy advisor because he was gay. And a few months ago, he was just all about Ted Nugent until he said some crazy stuff. And now he has allowed an accusation of treason to slide by. This is about character. And I remember back in the Bill Clinton days, they were talking about how character counts. That's all right-wing radio in America could say. Character really counts. For Mitt Romney, this is all about, hey, I'm a lot better than him at all costs. His political instinct is not to smack down the crazy on the campaign trail, because Mitt Romney doesn't know right from wrong. He has a serious error in judgment. His instincts aren't good. No, President Obama should not be brought up on treason charges. And you would think that the Republicans, who actually are behind closed doors going, they're enjoying this stuff. You would think for the good of the country, they would put that kind of garbage aside. Instead, it's really their campaign. Mitt Romney can't get enough of those kind of questions on the campaign trail. And his answer is, well, he can't correct every question. It wasn't a question. It was a statement about the President of the United States. And I'll give you an example, a parallel here. When Nancy Pelosi got the gavel in 2006, there's a lot of liberals in this country that wanted Dick Cheney and George Bush brought up on criminal war crimes, right? Did you remember that conversation? And Nancy Pelosi said, impeachment is off the table. She knew it wasn't achievable. And the Democrats in the past have had to take their folks and put them off to the side and slow things down. But today, Mitt Romney couldn't do that. I say it's all part of their plan. Get your cell phones out. I want to know what you think. Tonight's question. Does Mitt Romney have the character to stand up to the conspiracy theorists in the GOP? Text A for yes, text B for no to 622-639. And you can go to our blog at ed.msnbc.com. We'll bring the results later on in the show. I'm joined tonight by Congresswoman Maxine Waters of California. Congresswoman, great to have you with us tonight. I want to ask you right up. You bet. Absolutely. Thank you. What did we learn about Mitt Romney today, and what did we learn about the Republicans' campaign? Your thoughts?
Well, Ed, you nailed him again. He has been consistent in lack of being grounded in anything. What does this man believe? What will he stand up for? What is his leadership all about? I think he demonstrated again today that he's willing to do anything, say anything, put his finger in the air and see which way the wind is blowing. No, he did not stand up today to say that this president should not be brought up for treason, because he wanted to see which way it would play politically. So after the fact, when he was off, the cameras, he basically was asked, and he said no. Well, why didn't he say that when the woman said this right in front of everybody? Well, it's because he's not grounded philosophically. We don't know who he is. We don't know what he cares about. This man cannot be trusted. He flip-flops on everything. Whatever he thinks is politically advantageous for him. And so he did it again today. You're right on, Ed. We caught him again.
Is he afraid of the right-wing extremists, and are we going to see this continue to bleed into the campaign, in your opinion?
Well, actually, he will play to whomever he thinks has the power and has the advantage. And so right now, it appears that the right wing have been pressuring him more, have been at him, and so he's playing to them. But I want to tell you, if the tables turn tomorrow, he'd go that way. Which way, Romney? I'll tell you which way. Whichever way he thinks he can be advantaged by it. Whichever way he thinks he can get another vote. Whichever way he thinks he can get the kind of support that will get get him this presidency. But I want you to know, every time he opens his mouth, he's revealing himself. He's revealing himself for who he is and what he's all about. He simply cannot be trusted.
And finally, Congresswoman, on this subject, the Obama campaign would not put any surrogates out today to talk about this. They put out a new ad, which we're going to show a little bit later on, and they put out that statement about where Romney has failed to really lead. But are you concerned in any way that this kind of narrative is going to take a grip, and maybe the Obama people should have been out today smacking them down on this? What are your thoughts on how to handle this kind of crazy talk?
Well, this is what I know. I know that Obama's campaign does not wish to have 100% negative campaign. They're going to have to respond to some things. They're going to have to perhaps look at it a little bit differently and talk about how they're not going to allow themselves to be defined by this kind of rhetoric. This is not what they would like to do, and certainly they don't want to tie up all their surrogates going out there just simply responding to Romney and the way that he characterizes this administration. But I think they're going to have to do it differently.
Congresswoman Maxine Waters, always great to have you on the Ed Show. Thanks so much. Let's bring in MSNBC. You bet. Let's bring in MSNBC political analyst Richard Wolff. Richard, what do you make of this unfolding on the campaign trail today? What did we learn, if anything, about Mitt Romney or get reinforced?
Well, Ed, we had this conversation a few weeks ago, and I said, look, the kind of comments that we saw at the end of 2008 on the McCain campaign, that ugliness, that meanness was going to come back and come back earlier and come back more loudly than we saw it before. Our unhinged friends on the right-wing blog said that was an outrageous suggestion. And look, this general election campaign has been going for a couple of weeks already, and already we see this kind of comment. Really, it's not just about leadership. It's about what kind of argument Mitt Romney wants to present to the country. You know, one of the damaging things for Democrats in '68 was the images of this kind of extreme nature of the party that were broadcast across the nation. If this kind of thing gets repeated again and again, his campaign is going to get tarnished with it, whether or not he likes it. That's why he has to speak out. That's why, if you're going to make the critique about the president that he has not united this country, you've got to go do it yourself.
I want to ask you about the story that is unfolding here in this news cycle about a foiled terror plot. And once again, the forces working together, the CIA, the FBI, and the terrorism units in the Obama administration have stepped forward and thwarted yet another plot. Break it down for us.
Well, obviously, there are strong echoes and patterns here from the last attempt to bring down a commercial airliner, the 2009 underwear bomber, as they called him. You know, what's interesting then is that the president was furious because there was intelligence out there that the United States was in possession of that wasn't shared. The plot could have been foiled. This time around, things have gone much smoother. I know there's a lot of credit given for the intelligence assets that come into play here that stop these plots. That recognition is well deserved. This was a plot that stopped, and we should all be grateful for that. But remember, it's also a White House that said we've got to do things better, and they deserve some credit too for managing a system that actually worked.
Richard Wolff, thanks for joining us tonight here on the Ed Show. Appreciate it.